has been on the upward trend, minus the Michigan game. But since that loss to Colorado, I mean, you're seeing, obviously they've won 3 of their last 4, and you're seeing some improvements, whereas Colorado has lost several and are not trending in the right direction.
No, not at all. All right, here's what we have on the program tonight. Matt Rhule had as we have alluded to, a pretty fired up press conference earlier today. We're going to play you back some of the highlights of that coming up here in just a little bit. And then in hour number 2, Jessica sat down earlier today for the latest podcast, The Dig, with Husker assistant coach Kelly Hunter. Nebraska remains undefeated after taking care of both Michigan State Friday and Penn State Saturday. And now they have a little quick road trip to Chicago to play Northwestern midweek. And then here you go. Round 1 of Nebraska-Wisconsin Saturday night. Yes, and we've been getting questions about that. We've been getting texts about that. I know we've got a few phone calls for Coach Cook's show. Hey, and it's been like 3 weeks, a month that it's been building towards this matchup, but it's finally here. It's finally here for that matchup and 1 versus 2. But even that being said, they've got Northwestern on Wednesday. So as much as we want to talk about it and hype it up, yeah, and the fans and us as media, but the team is still, they are just so laser focused on one game at a time. And even Kelly talks about this, about the preparation, how typically when you're playing a back-to-back or even a Friday, Sunday on the weekend, you'll use the whole week to prepare for both those teams, whereas this week they'll just focus on Northwestern, and then when they're done with Northwestern, then they'll move on to Wisconsin, which makes it a little bit easier because, hey, you stay laser focused one game at a time. You're not trying to balance 2 teams, scouts, and all of that. So they're not taking Northwestern for granted by any means because, I mean, how much is Northwestern going to want to get a win over Nebraska? That's part of being one of the best teams in the country, and year in and year out, one of the best programs is you're going to get everybody's best. You're going to get typically the best crowds, and everybody wants to beat you. You got the target on your back, and so you cannot take any team lightly, especially in the Big Ten, especially on the road. And that's what Kelly said. They're tough on the road. They play great defense, and so they've got to stay locked in on Northwestern, and then they'll move to Wisconsin. But it's fun for us to hype about all week long. I mean, you're kind of rubbing your hands together going, let's go. The secondary ticket market is exploding. I mean, they're asking hundreds of dollars for tickets to that Nebraska-Wisconsin matchup Saturday night at the Devaney Center. I was so impressed Saturday night because Nebraska got behind big in the second set to Penn State. And you're like, okay, Penn State's playing great. They were undefeated in the league. They're going to win this set. It's going to be 1-1 going to the third. And here came that Husker team roaring back. They win the set. They win in straights. That was really impressive to pull that second set out.
I asked Kelly today, what is a big lead, like a 20-point lead in basketball and volleyball? She said 6 points. So
yeah,
you're looking up there and down by 7-8 points to Penn State.
I think.
Yeah, I mean it was 8-1 and then 11-4.
Yeah,
and you're looking up there and whoop. That might be a tough. She goes, I never doubt this team because they also see it as a challenge and they are so good about 1 point at a time. Even if they lose a point, they get down. It's all about the next point. They don't think, oh, we got to overcome and score 8 points in 1 point, right? Which I think sometimes comes back to get people when they're trying to overcome a deficit. They think they got to get it all back in one play, and in any sport, right? But this team does a really good job of going 1 point at a time. And yeah, you look at that sweep, but it was harder fought than a sweep.
It was.
I mean, it's easy to say, oh, well, they swept, but they had to fight hard for that sweep in the first 2 sets, and that was a good challenge, and they love being back at home. And I mean, they said it was electric in there on this weekend. I can only imagine what it's going to be like on Saturday because people are going to be primed going from the football game. And it's going to be a fun Saturday here in Lincoln.
JB said he couldn't hear Lauren the whole broadcast. I mean, right there. So it was loud, I think, in the Devaney Center. But it's going to be fun. 7 o'clock first serve Saturday night. But Jessica's right. The coaches are right. They do have that little road trip to Chicago to play Northwestern on Wednesday night before they can line up and think about Wisconsin. All right, phone lines, text lines open for you, 402-413-2400 if you want to be a part of the program with a call or a text. That is our Woodhouse Auto Family Hotline. They are your trusted auto partner. 20 brands, 20 convenient sales, and service locations. We're making car buying on your terms. Visit us online at woodhouse.com. Back with it. Comments from the head coach coming up next.
We could tell you all about what makes Ford F-Series the #1 trucks in America for 46 straight years. But why tell you when we could show you instead? Because in the Midwest, talk is cheap and actions speak. On the lake, on the job, or on the town. Choose the trucks that deliver on the claims. Ford F-Series is made for the real world. This is Chiefs Kingdom. Get 3.9% financing for 66 months, plus up to $3,750 bonus cash on F-150 XLT, official truck of the Kansas City Chiefs.
Get ready to rule the field and revolutionize your farming game with Valley, the game changer in irrigation and ag tech solutions. With time and labor-saving measures, ground truthing results, and effective input reduction, Valley provides the perfect game plan so you stay ahead of what's in the field. From the best in irrigation and cutting-edge ag tech solutions to personalized support, Valley is your winning team. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
For a century, the Farmall tractor transformed farming generation after generation. Today, legacy Farmall tractors and modern ones are found all around the world. Still incredibly reliable, still all-purpose as ever, still loved by all. To celebrate 100 years of Farmall, Case IH is giving away a Case IH Farmall Utility 75C tractor and $15,000. Join the celebration and enter for your chance to win. Gross Hands Incorporated Nebraska locations and West Point Implement of West Point. If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian automotive vehicles in operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops, and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the next-gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our roots, we're born to raise at Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
Other irrigation companies are finally discovering what T&L Irrigation is known for decades. Continuous movement is the best way to irrigate. While they'll have you pay for complicated upgrades to get steady, even water application with their high-voltage electric systems, all T&L Irrigation pivots and linears are propelled safely and smoothly by powerful hydrostatic drive. Continuous movement isn't new. It's the T&L standard. Don't get talked into a reinvented wheel. Pick the proven original. Call your T&L Irrigation dealer today or visit TLIRR.com. T&L, like no other.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid mineral with protein or Sweet Pro block supplements for space feeding, while also stretching your forages up to 25% better, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blauhorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
Everyone knows there isn't a fan base in the country that travels like Nebraska football fans. AAA Nebraska wants to help continue that tradition with the Huskers Away Game Getaway Giveaway. They're sending one fan on the ultimate away game experience for the Nebraska-Michigan State game on November the 4th. The prize package includes 2 tickets to the game and a $2,500 AAA travel gift certificate to cover flights, hotel, and travel accommodations. Enter now for a chance to win at huskers.com/AAA football getaway. Contest ends October 18th. Expect something more with AAA.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates may apply and may vary by carrier.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting student Ann Gallagher with Campus News. UNL is the only Big Ten university in Nebraska, part of the only conference with an academic alliance. Being in the Big Ten means superior academics, unique student opportunities, better resources, and world-class research programs. With 72% of undergraduate students receiving scholarships or financial aid, UNL offers a Big Ten education at great value.
We're back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you Monday night, Sports Nightly, here on another game week. Huskers will host the Northwestern Wildcats Saturday at 2:30. Nebraska, almost a 2-touchdown favorite in that game. Carla on our text line said, Good evening, Sports Nightlies. Did you see the SNL parody on Deion Sanders? Quite entertaining. I had not. You were, during the break, showing me some of it. You liked it.
Yeah, I'd seen it. It was hilarious, and so I had to pull it up and showed you a little bit. It's a long skit. It's like 5 minutes, but Keenan Thompson, he's hilarious. And so, yeah, it was funny. Go check it out.
Yeah, it was pretty good stuff. They had a couple of football skits in the show the other night. Travis Kelce made an appearance.
The thing is though, even though they're poking fun, he's still getting so much exposure, right? I mean, he is still just such a hot name, hot topic. Everybody's talking about it. And yes, some of it is because of all the hype at the beginning, and now they've started to lose games. But he's still in so many commercials. You're still getting people hyping up and talking about their games. And yeah, so it's still, even though they've started to lose, they are still very much a national hot topic and getting a lot of eyeballs on that program, which usually is good for recruiting.
Yep. About to be a Big 12 school. That's where they'll be next year when they move to that. All right, time for tonight's practice report.
The 1890 Initiative presents the Nebraska Football Practice Report.
We're talking about practice.
Do you want to support Husker student athletes through name, image, and likeness? If so, visit 1890nebraska.com.
And head coach Matt Rhule fired up today for his Monday press conference. I think he just missed the media so much because they only talked to him once last week.
Yeah.
So
he was just really missing those press conferences, I guess.
I think so.
It was long, too. It was like
almost a half an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, he was asked, did you see growth from your team during the bye week? Here was his response.
Some young players that are redshirted, we were able to get them way more reps. Some guys, we moved positions. Hey, hey, I know you're a D lineman. I'll play a guard for 3 days, and after the initial shock wears off, But I think hopefully they all understand it's because we think they're good players and want to get them on the field. So we were able to move some guys around. We were able to do some of the things we talked about, try some things for the guys that are playing, and then we were able to get some young guys in there. With the goal of, as we come down the stretch here, we're worried about this week, but we have some guys coming. Maybe we get Buford back for a couple. Maybe we get Deshaun back. So getting DeAndre Barnes and Ramir Stewart, getting them ready to play so that as we have injuries, we have another crop of guys ready to go. So it was a really pivotal week for us.
And it's just so different, too, when you're just playing, when you're on the scout team, but then all of a sudden, hey, now you're getting those reps with those first teams, those second teams, and hey, they need them, especially at that wide receiver bunch, right? I mean, they're going to need some of those young guys to step up, and I feel like this is the time of year things start to maybe sink in a little bit, and you really get to spend a lot more time on that in the bye week. But yeah, I mean, I feel like for some of those younger guys and getting to get them in, and hey, we got to have you. We need you here to finish out this. And I mean, unfortunately, injuries are a part of it, and you never know how many more, hopefully not for the offense, right? I mean, hopefully you don't have to deal with any of that, but you'd like to have some of those young guys ready to go and step in and next man up.
Now, he admitted a week or so ago that he will use his press conference moments to maybe even get a message to his team. I think that's kind of what happened today in a few cases. He got asked a question about, hey, you look around, you got to watch a lot of games over the weekend. You still have a shot to win the division, play for the conference championships. And he said, hold on. He did not want to talk about that. He said he wants to deal in the moment.
Worried about the big picture. I think that's the problem with Nebraska football. I think that's why we've gone 1-5 down the stretch most years, looking at things outside of just going 1-0 this week, evaluating the offensive, defensive coaches, evaluating the offense versus all this stuff outside the program. I'm going to do my best to keep it from infiltrating the program. We've got to get a way to get 1-0 this week. We've got to try to improve this week. It's going to be a real challenge. So, to me, I had a chance to watch the teams we play. I was really happy to see Illinois play well. Because that obviously anytime we play someone, we beat them, and then we see them play well, it makes us feel good about who they are. I saw Northern Illinois go get a huge win over a 5-1 Ohio U team. So, I feel good about where our team is, but our team has got to eliminate the looking past just what's important this week. When we got embarrassed at Michigan, we didn't think about anything else other than Friday night, and we were locked in. And we're going to find out about myself as the head coach and our coaches and our players and our staff. Can we have that same focus this week? We better.
It can be so easy at this point. You've got 3 wins. You've got some teams that are ahead of the schedule, like, hey, we can win. And for some of these players that hadn't been in a bowl game, I mean, look at the fans. You were talking to me about bowl projections already. I mean,
in trouble.
It's there. It's out there. It's everywhere.
Yes.
And you get to this point where there's some winnable games ahead of you. You have 3 wins, and you're like, okay, this could happen. It could be easy to get caught up in that, but that's what this team has preached every week. You just got to win this week, and it can. And that's what I was talking about the volleyball team, and what they are so good about is, they've got such a daunting schedule. You can't look ahead. You've got to just take it one game at a time, and it's so much easier said than done. But it can derail things if you're not locking in to what you need to do this week to get to that one more win. I mean, that's got to be the messaging, and it's fun for us to all talk about outside of that. But for the team internally, that absolutely cannot be what's happening internally.
I'm looking at the chat room tonight, and I see Dry says, looking at games this weekend, we could go win every game. You got 4 hours to Lincoln said after watching games over the weekend, everything is winnable for us. Let's go get all these. I mean, it's everywhere.
Yes.
And he's trying to insulate his team. Good luck.
Yeah, I mean, because again, and he just said it. It's maybe part of the problem, but it's been so long since this program has been in a bowl game, and that's what you and I have been talking about since the summer. Is just get back into a bowl game, and now. You can kind of see it. You can maybe see the light at the end of the tunnel, but you can't be looking at that at the end of the tunnel. You have to just keep focusing on the process that it takes to get there. And it's fun for us to talk about and speculate, and fans to get excited about. But for a team, you cannot. I mean, that is just a recipe for disaster if you start looking ahead and thinking about everything else other than just 1 week at a time. What do we have to do this week to win this week to get one step closer?
He's kind of swimming upstream, I think, because it is. And you're right. I've been looking at those bowl projections. I think every Husker fan is.
Everybody. I've seen it everywhere. I'm not just calling you out. I've seen it on my timeline.
Guilty.
I think there's been some articles written about it. I mean, Vegas has projections on it. It's everywhere, and it is. It's fun to start thinking about, let's start making some Christmas plans around a bowl trip. But, you've got to get there first. And what does it take to get there? It's one, and as much as we don't want to talk about it, it's 1 week at a time. But yes, there are absolutely some winnable games that are ahead in the future that absolutely could punch a ticket to a bowl game. And that's what's fun to talk about. But for the team, you cannot go there.
Crypto setting bull odds in the chat room right now. All right, let's get back to this football team here. That was a fun segment, though. I had to play that clip because that's what he is fighting on today. The offensive line, and I know you've talked a lot about it with Jeremiah in the sideline slice. He was asked today, how have you looked at your offensive line through the first half of the season?
I think our offensive line has gotten better and better and better. I think they are one of the groups that I'm going to speak for them. I think they're one of the groups that's really been scarred they're scarred still by the things that are said about them out there, and they hear it. They probably were hearing it too much and not having a lot of fun playing. And I think that they, in the last 2 weeks, have really kind of gotten past that a little bit. I think they, I just don't, when you run the ball for 200 yards a game, no matter how you get it, you don't do that if guys aren't playing well. If tight ends aren't blocking, if guys aren't running. I think the biggest thing that I've seen improvement in is our pass protection. We're getting better and better and better in pass pro. We're not here to throw the ball 45 times a game. So, but we're getting better in those regards. But I like our offensive line. I like the amount of things that they see, the amount of things that people throw at us because we don't throw it a ton. The amount they blitz us. They are unsung heroes to me.
Yeah, I mean, that's what Searles and I talk a lot about. I mean, you don't rack up the rushing yards and lead the conference for what week 4 they were leading the conference in rushing. They're still at the top. I don't know if they still are after last week, but you're not one of the best rushing offenses in the country, in the league, without having solid offensive line play. And so Yeah, and again, and as he mentioned there, you're talking about teams that are doing everything they can to try to stop the run because Nebraska didn't show much passing. And we were Coach Satterfield week 3, week 4, and we've got to show that we can do some things through the air because that's what teams were keying in on, but yet they were still able to run the ball. I mean, we get a lot of text about it. I know we get a lot of comments about it, but I agree. I mean, I feel like, and that's what Searles and I have talked about every week with the offensive linemen is you don't do what you've done on the ground without some solid play up front, and they've continued to grow. And I've seen that too. The confidence continued to grow when you watch on the sideline and you're seeing how they interact with each other, with Coach Rhule, with the offense. You're seeing the confidence also grow and grow each week, which is also a big part of it.
Those two guys from Illinois are really good, and he said in a later spot in the press conference, he goes, Ethan Piper had to go up against number 4. That's Johnny Newton, and we allowed 1 sack against the Illini, and they caused havoc for Maryland this past weekend. So well done. I thought the Illinois game was one of their better games of the year. All right, last clip coming up here. And this was an interesting comment of the coach talking about, does he sit on his coaches? I mean, does he keep the coaches from doing everything they want to do? It's a funny response, but it's also, I think, him trying to move a lot of talk about certain assistant coaches onto his shoulders. It's an interesting comment here from the coach.
Yeah, we're not going to play with tempo. It's just not us yet. Like, at some point, we will go. As we continue to develop, and maybe it'll be this week. But right now, we, after you have 8 turnovers in the first 2 games, you're going to say we have a good defense. You're going to say, hey, let's not beat ourselves. We won 3 of our last 4. I know, but we won 3 of our last 4. So. Yeah, I sit on everybody? That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm complain about me. Don't complain about the coaches. Do you think Ed wants to run a fake punt every week? He wants to block every punt, right? I have to say, Ed, what are we doing? Ed, no. Ed wants to do that. Sat wants to throw the ball down the field every play. Garrett wants to drop back and throw it 50 times. Tony's going to go 0 blitz every play. My job is to manage the team. And again, I let my coaches coach. I don't want to sound like I'm sitting here going through every call, but I set the tone for what we do. When we have a lead, we're going to run the football and choke the game out. That's just what we're going to do. And you know what will happen when we get good? And maybe we're good now, maybe not. I'm not saying when we figure this whole thing out, we're going to have a bunch of games where we have a lead in the 4th quarter and we run for 100 yards and everyone's going to leave happy. It won't be, I won't be up for the Broyles Award. No one's going to call me a guru, or Sat might not be up for the Broyles Award, but we'll win games. We just want to win.
It's a balance, and we've seen several teams. I mean, we keep going back to USC, but they do whatever Lincoln Riley wants to do. And Lincoln Riley is pretty much, since he's been offensive coordinator and head coach, especially, whatever the offense wants to do, right? And you mentioned earlier, I mean, how many big games have they won? So you've got to play complementary football. And so, yeah, there's probably some play calls that some of the offensive coordinators or offensive coaches really want to go to. But if it's not the right situation and the team's not ready for it, then you got to pull back on it. It's balance. And that's where the head coach, the manager in that, the CEO, is so important in that, and making sure that it is. I mean, that it's all working parts together, not just, what one person thinks is just good for the offense. Well, it might not be the best for the defense, and vice versa. And so that's where that CEO type and Coach Rhule really steps in and makes sure, no, we're going to be a balanced football team. We're going to do whatever we have to do to win. And sometimes that means you're not going to get to do what you want to do every game.
That's a fascinating answer.
Yeah.
I really thought it was. There was just a lot of cool stuff inside that press conference today. Back to our text line, Tim and Kearney, our team is better at this point in the season than under Frost or Mike from Oregon State. Our defense is darn good. I'm changing the word on him. For the first year of a new coaching staff, I look forward to the games except Michigan. We are going to a bowl game. So there's Tim and Kearney.
There's another bowl mention. Hopefully Coach Rhule's not listening to this show.
He's going to be mad. So, yeah, keep them coming. 402-413-2400 with a text or a phone call. We would like to invite you to visit a participating AGCO dealer. Between now and November the 3rd, get yourself entered for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Nebraska-Iowa football game on November 24th right here in Lincoln. We're going to throw in some pregame tailgate passes. You can go see True Turf and Ag in Osmond, Columbus, and Fall City. Osceola Implement and Kearney Equipment to enter, and you may be a winner this season. More of the show coming up next.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
Active Liver is one of many award-winning health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at Amazon.com or for a volume discount, visit NewNordicUSA.com. Available as a tablet or delicious sugar-free gummy. Protect and help your liver the easy and effective way with Active Liver at Amazon or NewNordicUSA.com.
Visit a participating AGCO dealer between September 11th and November 3rd and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Nebraska-Iowa football game on November 24th in Lincoln, plus pregame tailgate. See True Turf and Ag in Osmond, Columbus, and Falls City, Osceola Implement, and Kearney Equipment to enter. And you may win this season.
Woodhouse Lincoln is bringing you the premium lineup of Lincoln SUVs. Shop all 4 models and be immersed in quiet luxury, craftsmanship, and state-of-the-art tech. Lease a 2023 Lincoln Corsair for $699 per month. Find us in store off 144th and Giles Road or online anytime at woodhouselincoln.com. 36 months for 10,500 miles per year with approved credit. Tax, title, license extra. Security deposit waived. $1,500 down plus first payment and $299 doc fee due at signing. Offer expires October 31st, 2023. See dealer for details.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
For 47 years, Sid Dillon Buick GMC Cadillac in Fremont has been family owned and operated. We'll treat you like family and focus on providing you the best buying experience possible. Visit us in Fremont to shop Nebraska's #1 volume Buick GMC dealer. And if you need a commercial vehicle, we're your GMC Business Elite dealer. Shop at SidDillonBuickGMC.com. GMC, we are professional grade.
You are what drives us, Sid Dillon.
There's room at the table and more dollars to every acre by incorporating value-added grain into your operation with Central Valley Ag. From white corn to blue corn to organics, find the right fit for your operation. Now, for a limited time, enter to win a $10,000 bonus when you contract a minimum of 50,000 bushels of value-added grain. Enter to win at CVACoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
It's time for some Nebraska farm facts. Want to know a fast way to rev up our Nebraska economy while helping the planet? It's right in your tank. When you fill up with clean soy-based biodiesel, you're increasing Nebraska biodiesel production while reducing greenhouse gases by up to 74%. So look for biodiesel where you fill up. It benefits our air, our economy, and our farmers. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow, provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Just go to NewNordicUSA.com or visit Walgreens or Amazon to purchase. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at NewNordicUSA.com.
At Nebraska, our people will always be our greatest asset. Day-by-day donors give our teams the best opportunity to compete and win through their generous donations. Our vision for the future is ambitious and requires help from those who want to see Husker athletics excel at the highest level. Go big and join thousands of other Huskers Athletic Fund members with your gift today at Huskers.com/donate.
20 convenient sales and service locations. We're making car buying on your terms. Visit us online at woodhouse.com. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you Monday night, 402-413-2400. The number if you want to be a part of the program with a call or a text. Dennis on our text line. Greg, for as many football games that you have done, have you ever heard the head ref tell the public address announcer to stop playing music before the snap of the ball? That happened in the Colorado-Stanford game. I saw that, I heard that, and the referee was right. You have to shut off your music, either whether it's the band playing or the PA, when a team kind of breaks the huddle or ready for the snap. You can't keep that playing.
It's up with every sport, right? I mean, you can't play
music while the ball's coming up the court in basketball or
anything like that. NBA, you hear it all the time. They play music all the time, but with colleges, they shut that down, and there's a certain amount of time, like you've got to be quiet. And so, yeah, it's definitely in the rule book. So
I'm trying to think back. I don't remember if that was happening when we played out there. It might have been that they were continuing to play stuff while we were getting ready to snap the ball or whatever.
I don't remember. I do. The only thing that I know, and it wasn't addressed, but when Oklahoma played at Tennessee, it was Baker Mayfield's first year that he was the starting quarterback, and they pump in crowd noise. It's loud as it is, but then they pump in more.
Got 105,000 people
and
there.
They don't shut it down. And so we were thinking, okay, this has got, I'm sure teams push the envelope as much as they can, and especially to try to hype up or give any kind of advantage to be loud over a snap count or anything like that. But yeah, there's definitely rules to that, and most of the time people are paying pretty close attention to that. If they start pushing the envelope, then yeah, the refs will step in. But I've never heard it over the loudspeaker. Usually I think they would like say something to like the official on the sideline, hey, the seats to stop. But if it doesn't, then yeah.
And maybe they did. I don't know. I never heard a post-game reaction from the official, but he was right to do that. Andy on our text line down in Phoenix. Let's bowl right here in Phoenix. Play at Chase Field after the Diamondbacks win the World Series in the same ballpark. That's the guaranteed rate bowl. That is a Big Ten bowl game. That is a possibility if the Huskers get bowl eligible.
Is that within the Chick-fil-A family of
I don't know.
There's the other, when Michigan was here, there were some bowl folks here, and it was, I don't know if it was just for the Fiesta Bowl or whatever, but there were some.
The Fiesta Bowl, I think, also runs the guaranteed rate bowl game.
So they were, with it being a Big Ten representative, so they were here.
See, Andy's just trying to get me in trouble, talking about bowl games.
Yeah.
Going to get me in trouble. Andy also in the chat room, he's double dipping here. He said Rutgers was pumping in that fake noise. They were really loud with some of their, was it a train thing? They were, that PA there was loud.
Yeah, it was. TCU does a train too, and it's pretty loud too. But yeah, I mean, I think everywhere has their own little things that they do, and some places probably push it a little bit further than others. And like I even think probably even like Nate Rohr, he's got to cut it off at
that third down thing he does.
I mean,
he's got to stop.
That he knows he knows when he has to stop. But like all the music, all the artificial music that's coming out of the speakers have to stop at a certain point. And I don't know if there's like a set once they set the ball down, what it is. But yeah, you're supposed to pull it back. But there are definitely teams that pump in artificial noise for sure.
So to Dennis, yes, there are rules, and you have to. I'm glad the official did it. I was watching that part of the game. I'm glad he did it. I mean, you gotta make it fair.
Yeah,
it's home field advantage is one thing, but you got to make it fair. Hey, AAA, Nebraska, they're going to give away the ultimate game day away experience. The Huskers road game getaway includes a couple of tickets to the Nebraska game at Michigan State coming up November the 4th up at East Lansing. The winner will also receive $2,500, a AAA travel gift certificate to cover flights, hotel, other travel accommodations. You can enter the contest at huskers.com/AAA football getaway. Expect something more with AAA. 402-413-2400, the number to be a part of the program. Call or text. We're back to wrap up hour one next.
Both Farmers and Division I athletes are alike in that every year, every season presents a new opportunity. That is nothing new. Aurora Cooperative does what they always do, embrace new opportunities. They focus on their roots and continue to stand strong with their farmer owners. These core beliefs are much like those of committed Husker athletes. Aurora Cooperatives relies on their value of a strong work ethic to get any job done for their producers. When you choose Aurora Cooperative, you're choosing a winning team that's dedicated to the success of our local farmers. Go Big Red and go Aurora Cooperative. Visit a participating AGCO dealer between September 11th and November 3rd and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Nebraska-Iowa football game on November 24th in Lincoln, plus pregame tailgate. See True Turf and Ag in Osmond, Columbus, and Falls City, Osceola Implement, and Kearney Equipment to enter. And you may win this season.
In 1923, Bert R. Benjamin had a vision, an all-purpose tractor that could do more. With that, the Farmall was born. This year, Case IH is celebrating 100 years of Farmall, 100 years of milestones, 100 years of innovation, passion, grit. And they're doing it through your stories. Share them at farmall100.com. One lucky storyteller will win their own Farmall, the tractor that is the one for all.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
We've got some universally big news for Nebraska Pick 5 fans. The prize for matching 4 of 5 numbers has risen from $450 to $500. Visit your favorite Nebraska lottery retailer today. Pick 5 numbers between 1 and 40 or ask for a Nebraska Pick 5 Quick Pick. Match 4 numbers and you could win $500. Each play only costs $1 and there are drawings 7 days a week. It's just another way our game is getting better all the time. Nebraska Pick 5 top prize odds 1 in 658,000.
For farmers, productivity isn't an option, it's everything. And at Valley, we feel the same, delivering game-changing technology and irrigation solutions that advance agricultural productivity, with the results to prove it. From our leading irrigation technology to expert advice, you can always rely on Valley to bring out the best in your farm. At Valley, productivity isn't an option, it's everything. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
Ag Insider Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody with you. It's a Monday night, 402-413-2400, the number to be a part of the program. On Thursday's show, we didn't have a show Friday because of Husker Volleyball, but we did our picks segment, and I think when I threw it to Jeremiah, he picked first in the Iowa-Wisconsin game. I go, Jeremiah, isn't this the first one to 10 wins? Ended up being right, 15-6.
Yeah, that was not pretty. And Wisconsin went out of there pretty beat up, too.
They did. Mordecai broke his hand, not his throwing hand, but his offhand. He's had surgery on Sunday. He's going to be out for a couple weeks. So they're beat up, banged up. Was Iowa already using a backup quarterback? And then I think, to me, the game of the weekend was a future Big Ten game. I thought the Oregon-Washington game was phenomenal.
It really was. It was a great game.
What was Oregon's coach doing not punting there late in the game? He had like 4th and 4 from midfield. He went for it, didn't get it. They got stuffed, and then it set up a short field for Washington to go take.
Well, especially as potent as Washington's offense is, which, I mean, there wasn't much. Sometimes there wasn't much defense being played anyways, but at least make it a longer field than giving the ball to Washington to have that short of field. But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people questioning that. But I think he thought, hey, we can get it done and ice this game right here. I mean, it can go either way. If he gets it, then it's a brilliant call, right? So
it was a terrific football game, and it kind of was. Both those teams are going to be part of this league coming up in not a year. They'll both be Big Ten teams coming up next season. The text line question, what's up with Carter Nelson looking at Notre Dame? Did he decommit? He did not. He did take a visit to Notre Dame. He told the Husker coaches that he was going to go visit the Irish, but he came back and he told some people who follow the recruiting, Carter's the really terrific tight end from Ainsworth, that he's still solid in Nebraska. But, it's hard to tell somebody 17 years old, You can't go see another college campus. I mean, and Matt Rhule addressed that today, going, hey, I want guys to go. Go have fun. Go enjoy it. Now, if you're going to change your mind on us, you got to tell us right away so we can adapt. But you can't hold these kids and tell them not to go experience something like that.
Yeah, it's part of the experience. You get 5 official visits, right? And even if I know that there are unofficial visits, but there are just limitations as to what you can do and how much you can do with recruits. And so, to get the full experience of an official visit and, if there's an opportunity, you only get one shot at this, and even if you are a transfer, if you go to a school and transfer, you don't really get to do this kind of experience. No. You don't get to experience, and he's from Nebraska, get a chance to see the country a little bit, and, maybe other teams think they could flip him, which, I mean, that happens everywhere. You see everywhere that commitments, recruiting, guys that are committed somewhere else go take their visits. I mean, I don't have a problem with it at all. I mean,
if I were a recruitable athlete, I would take all 5.
I would too.
I would go experience different places and see. Maybe you'd be surprised. Maybe you wouldn't be, but maybe you would.
Well, especially I go back to when I was I hadn't had a chance to travel much at that point. To get a chance to see other, especially if you're a college football fan and wanting to see the different atmospheres and just take it all in, and I don't really have a problem with it. I mean, he's obviously locked in and committed, and it happens everywhere. You're not going to avoid it.
Let's go to West Point. Husker Dan, you're up next on the program. Good evening, Dan.
Hi, kids. How are you?
Good. How are you, Dan?
Good. I'm really good. Hey, I got 2 things. My first thing is, Iowa did the basketball court on the football field, and it's like, at first, I was kind of upset. I'm like, really? I mean, really, you got to copy us? But, they only got 54,000 in there. We still got the record. And, after, listening to the story and what it was all about, the proceeds went to the hospital. So I think that's a cool thing. And last and foremost is Lexi Rodriguez. Oh, well, all I can say is wow. That girl, she got Defensive Player of the Week, and I saw that coming because, man, that girl is everywhere. And what she digs out of, them balls are coming at her 100 mile an hour, and she just finds a way to pop them up. And they're getting, those girls, volleyball girls, are so fun to watch, and they're just getting better and better as every game goes. And, well, I tell you what, Saturday, that's going to be the big one. And that's all I got. You guys have a good night. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, and the coaching staff will tell you that even what Lexi Rodriguez does, she makes a lot of things look easy that would be impossible for a lot of people. So even the things, we are wowed by a lot of her plays, but there are a lot of plays that she makes look routine that are not as easy as she makes them look because she has such a good sense and feel for the game and where things are going. Like, there's lots of times, and Jalen brought this up too, where a lot of people would dive to make a play, but she's like, why would I dive? It takes more effort, if I can get there and not have to dive and still be on my feet. And so I think a lot of people think that, she doesn't, some of the digs that she gets are not as hard, but they are very, very hard. She just makes it look good just because of her sense and feel for the game. And then to the point about Iowa, I thought it was awesome. I think it's really cool. Look what Nebraska did, and people, and they were mentioning Nebraska. They alluded to the fact, and the more that you can put women's sports on this stage, I think it's incredible for the women to get to have this opportunity, and for DePaul. I mean, they played a pretty good game there. That's a pretty solid basketball team. They wanted to come in and have that experience. I think it doesn't make me mad at all. I saw a tweet, Lauren Chamberlain, who was the home run leader for Oklahoma softball for a while before Jocelyn Olive. She tweeted, please, 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 can we make a softball game happen inside Memorial Stadium? So, Nebraska set the trend. Everybody in America, everybody in women's sports knows that Nebraska did it first. Nebraska did it best. There's not going to be anywhere else that can beat the record, but I think it is awesome. The more opportunities that you can give women's sports, these women's athletes, to have a platform like this, the better. I am all for it. Honestly, it's one of my weekend winner nominees.
I just wish Lexi played with more joy. I wish she had more fun playing. She just looks miserable. I'm totally teasing.
Yeah, she has fun out there.
She just lights it up. Her personality is lights it up. Doug in Norfolk said, what about that one rally in the third set? There was some high-level volleyball. Jessica referenced this earlier in the hour. That was a high-level match between Nebraska and Penn State the other night. Those two went back and forth. Those were two of the better teams in the country. Hope you got a chance to enjoy that. Folks, buckle up, put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office, 1 hour down, 1 to go.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska exists to be there with you. They are rooting for the schools and teachers who make our communities great. That's why Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is proud to sponsor Touchdowns for Teachers and ask Husker fans to nominate outstanding educators who help Nebraska students reach their potential. If there's a teacher you want to recognize for the impact they've made in your community, find a nomination form at huskers.com/touchdownsforteachers.
At Groundworks, we take great pride in helping our Nebraska neighbors keep their homes healthy. From repairing foundations to waterproofing basements to fixing crawl spaces or lifting concrete driveways. We'd like to think our customers choose us because of our attention to detail or the fact that we're the nation's leading foundation solutions provider. What gives our customers the most comfort is we're right here in Nebraska. Visit groundworks.com for a free estimate. Groundworks. Foundation solutions crafted with pride. The official foundation company of the Huskers.
Get ready to rule the field and revolutionize your farming game with Valley, the game changer in irrigation and ag tech solutions. With time and labor-saving measures, ground truthing results, and effective input reduction, Valley provides the perfect game plan so you stay ahead of what's in the field. From the best in irrigation and cutting-edge ag tech solutions to personalized support, Valley is your winning team. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
We've got some universally big news for Nebraska Pick 5 fans. The prize for matching 4 of 5 numbers has risen from $450 to $500. Visit your favorite Nebraska lottery retailer today. Pick 5 numbers between 1 and 40 or ask for a Nebraska Pick 5 Quick Pick. Match 4 numbers and you could win $500. Each play only costs $1 and there are drawings 7 days a week. It's just another way our game is getting better all the time. Nebraska Pick 5 top prize odds 1 in 658,000.
Good evening, I'm Duke Root, and our sports ticker is brought to you by the 1890 Initiative. Nebraska head coach Matt Rhule spoke to the media today as the Huskers get ready for the second half of the season. The Huskers are coming off a bye week that allowed many players to get healthier ahead of a crucial Big Ten West game versus Northwestern on Saturday. Coach gave the media a preview of how his team is looking before the game. Here's what he had to say.
Just an injury update, and you might have to help me with this. Luke Reimer will be back with us this week, so excited to have Luke back. Other than that, I think we're a pretty healthy team. Deshaun Singletons will still be out, but we're excited to have Luke back. Obviously, he'll be a big boom for our defense. So, big week for us, huge week for us. Playing an excellent Northwestern team, 3-3. Unbelievable comeback win over Minnesota. Down, I think it was 31-10. Coach Braun's doing a fantastic job, so it'll be a heck of a ball game. Excited to have a chance to play them. Excited for this week. Excited to see our players after the bye week. So.
The Huskers face the Wildcats on Saturday at 2:30 on the Big Ten Network. The Big Ten also announced today that Nebraska's game against Purdue next week will also kick off at 2:30 and streaming on Fox Sports 1. Nebraska volleyball libero Lexi Rodriguez was named the Big Ten Defensive Player of the Week as the Huskers beat Michigan State and Penn State. The team travels to Northwestern on Wednesday before their big clash with Wisconsin on Saturday. The MLB postseason is in full swing with 2 games on tonight. The Philadelphia Phillies take on the Arizona Diamondbacks in Game 1 of the NLCS. That game starts at 7:07 p.m. And the Texas Rangers defeating the Houston Astros 5-4 in Game 2 of the ALCS. Finally, the Dallas Cowboys travel to Los Angeles to play the Chargers on Monday Night Football. You can check that game out on ESPN and ABC at 7:15 p.m. Our sports ticker is sponsored by the 1890 Initiative. Do you want to support Husker student athletes through name, image, and likeness? If so, visit 1890nebraska.com. Coming up next is Hour 2 of Sports Nightly right here on the Huskers Radio Network.
Coming to you live from Memorial Stadium, it's Sports Nightly. All the Huskers, all the time. Sports Nightly is presented to you by the NDOT Highway Safety Office, who remind you to buckle up and put the phone down.
Here's the snap back to Reggie Love. He gets hit at the goal line, and a ball might have popped out. I don't think he made it in there. Nebraska's black shirts have put together a goal line stand and will take over at the 1-yard line.
Husker volleyball sent to the left. Krause again. Unreal. Another thump from Lindsey Krause.
Here's the snap back. Zone read. Take the handoff. Harburg's got it. 20, 15, 10, 5, dives, touchdown, Nebraska.
Controlled by the Huskers. Again, Lindsey left pin for the match. She got it. 25-14, Huskers set the way. Sweep number 9 this year for Nebraska. And your Huskers are 15-0 and a perfect 6-0 in the Big Ten.
Here are your hosts, Greg Sharpe and Jessica Coody on the Huskers Radio Network.
Here we are back, hour number 2, Sports Nightly on a Monday night. You want to be a part of the program, our phone lines, text lines open. By the way, they're coincidentally the same phone number, 402-413-2400. You can get to us on that. Also, we're up on the chat room. Those folks are having a good time tonight. They're breaking the rule, though. They're talking way too much about bowl games. So they did not get the memo. Breaking that rule.
You've broke it, too.
I did, too. You're right. Speaking of breaking, I broke down when I saw the news earlier this weekend that Allison Widener, Husker basketball player who missed the back half of last year with a knee injury, has now injured the other knee, and she will not play this season at all. For Amy Williams, my heart aches for Allison Widener.
Oh, just hate it because she was devastated when she went down, but just bowed back, and Coach Williams just really bragged on her attack to the rehab and to getting better, and she is just such a key player. But and she mentioned she'll bounce back and get better for it. I mean, I've said this too many times. I feel like I say it too many times. Coming from somebody that tore both ACLs, it makes me sick. My heart just breaks in a way, just because it's such a lonely process. You feel left out at times. You're having to challenge yourself every day in the rehab. It's not easy, but when I tore my first ACL, the doctor told me there's a 90% chance I'd tear the other one. And I don't know if those statistics have gone down since then, but it's pretty common that once you tear one, that there's a good chance you'll tear the other one. And so, but Allison's got such a good attitude and is just such a strong competitor. She'll come back for it, and but hate it for her. I guess the only bright side is that she wasn't in any game, so she'll get this year back.
Yeah. Where last year was burned.
Yeah,
she played too much.
She lost the whole year last year, but this year she won't. She'll get to redshirt this year.
Thomas Fedoni, same thing, right? Both knees for him.
Yeah, but wasn't his like a kind of a? Didn't he get hit or something? Or
I don't know that he completely tore the other one, but he missed. Because it was both legs that he had injuries too. So just heartbreaking to see that for Allison. I know she wasn't completely back. I do think by midseason this year she would have been really helpful for this team. But again, you haven't started playing games, and so for Amy Williams and that coaching staff, they can now deal with the fact they don't have her, so they can kind of work and set up their rotations without her instead of having to try to figure this out midstream. I guess if there's a bright side, there would be that to it as well. The AP men's preseason top 25 dropped today. The Kansas Jayhawks, fresh off their news of really hardly any violations from the NCAA last week, the preseason #1 team, Duke #2, followed by Purdue and Michigan State. So the Big Ten has 3 and 4 on the docket. Creighton, who will play Fred Hoiberg's team in early December, they come in at #8. Other Big Ten teams that are in the poll is Illinois is at #25. So those are the only Big Ten teams. The Ken Palm formula, which comes out, it's a big analytical thing that actually the NCAA committee uses quite a bit to formulate the field for March Madness. Jessica, came out over the weekend. Fred Hoiberg's Huskers are 58. Coach Hoiberg, since he's been at Nebraska, has never broken 80.
Wow.
And they start this year at 58. Somebody sees something with his team.
Well, and there are just some known commodities that he brought in that have, you have some experience, but you also have guys from some teams that won some basketball games and have played basketball. And we've talked a lot about this on this program. A lot of times those experienced older teams are the ones that really can do well in the NCAA tournament. And so it's not like you're bringing in a bunch of freshmen, but you have some known guys that he's assembled, but then also guys like Casey Tominaga and some returners that got hot at the end of the season, that when you couple that all together, then I think people are kind of paying some attention. And I think they'll continue to gain some attention as the non-conference goes along, because I think they've set themselves up to be able to really have some positive things happen in the non-conference before they go into the Big Ten.
It's a great point, because analytics can tell you how Rink Mass' game will transfer from Bradley to here, how Bryce Williams will transfer from Charlotte here, because they've played college basketball at a fairly high level, both in the Valley or Conference USA, and so those numbers are there, and so that they can cobble Nebraska's team together, even though a lot of newcomers, and go, this is where we think they are.
And we talked about this, I think, last week, but there's just such high-level basketball being played on in a lot of different conferences, and even the mid-majors. It's so different than football in that you can have some really competitive teams that are not in the Power Five that can make deep runs, and then you also look at some of these teams like a Ball State or a Bradley. They play really competitive for the most part. A lot of times will play really competitive non-conferences. So it's kind of the opposite with what some teams do if the Big 12 or Big 10, where you try to not kill yourself in the non-conference because your conference is so strong, for these other teams to make a case because maybe their conference isn't as strong, and maybe it's a one-bid league where you have to earn the automatic bid. But if you have a strong enough resume because of what you've done in the non-conference. But in basketball, you see a lot more, because the non-conference is longer, you see a lot more of the teams like a Ball State or a Bradley or Charlotte, who also won the CBI, who also teams of all conferences play in those postseason tournaments. And so you're seeing teams match up against, and so you can see how the game translate and what Rink can do against some of these Power Five teams. And I think it translates, the games translate in basketball a lot more than in football and maybe some of the other sports.
And you're going to be calling some BTN Plus games soon.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Couple weeks.
Yep, Eric Strickland's going to be back on the call for a few of them, and even one Andy Markowski's going to be joining me for a couple, so I'm excited. Yep.
Andy did a lot of color on the network years ago, so it'll be good to hear his voice again. Folks, buckle up, put the phone down. A reminder from the NDOT Highway Safety Office. Fred Hoiberg got some really good news on Friday. Lincoln Southwest junior Braden Frager is committed to Nebraska, so he will not sign in November. He's only a junior, so he's got another year to go. But Nebraska's been in on this young man for quite a while. And you know what? He credited Sam Griesel. He goes,
It's awesome.
I saw Sam coming back last year, Lincoln kid, trying to help the program turn the corner. He goes, I wanted to follow in Sam's footsteps. I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and we kind of felt like that could be what Sam did, his impact was going to last more than for what he did both on and off the court, but his impact for this basketball program, because he's going to keep recruiting and keep pushing kids and guys that are from the state, and he's going to be heavily involved in that. And yeah, I mean, you heard the roars of the crowd and how much he was welcome back. It would be hard for me if I was going through that process to say no to this too. And now you're going to see another one in Josiah Alec and see how it goes for him. And here's another story of a kid staying home or coming back home that, I think it's going to pay dividends for a long time.
Braden's 6'6". You'll like this. He's a lefty. I like that.
I like it.
Chose Nebraska over Iowa State and Creighton. So it's a pretty good get. And you'll love this. First guy, if he does sign, again, he's got to wait another 13 months before he can sign. He can sign next November. He would be the first Lincoln player to sign with the Huskers out of high school since Jake Muehlheisen.
Wow.
2001.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
Woo. Didn't
Jake.
think we'd hear Jake Muehlheisen's name on the program tonight, did you?
Well, I was thinking, because Sam Hoiberg was a walk-on, but
Yep.
That's
Jake.
Can't wait to hear those voices soon.
I don't think Jake's got ups anymore. I don't think he can get up off the ground very much. So it was good to see Jake and Kent last week. So good news for Fred on Friday, and then the Ken Palm thing dropped over the weekend, and people are kind of going, oh, I think this team may be kind of fun to watch here in a few weeks.
I think so too. I'm excited. I cannot wait. I'm going to try to go out to practice tomorrow morning, or I think tomorrow morning. This week, take in a couple so I'll have a better feel. But a lot of it, too, is just going to be, and I think that's, again, why they set up the schedule that they did. They had a lot of injuries, guys working back. And when you're building a team with a lot of new players, a lot of it is just kind of coming together, building that chemistry. And so this time's really important. But I think we'll see how this season goes. It's early, but I think he's found a good recipe of bringing some of the young talent along, like a Jamarcus Lawrence, mixing some good freshman talent with some older guys from the portal. And so it's kind of the recipe, I think, that's going to maybe work well for this program.
I want you to settle something for me. Kent and I were debating this the other day about Eli Rice, who played really well when they went to Spain. He's the true freshman 6'7", 6'8" player. Kent does not believe Eli will be in the top 10. I think he will be.
Yeah.
So you're on my side. You're Team Greg on this answer.
Yes, I am.
He's like, Greg, he's not even in the top 10. I'm like, Kent, I think he is going to be.
Well, he might not be to start the season because sometimes Jamarcus Lawrence
didn't
wasn't.
last year.
I mean, it took him a while to figure some things out, and a lot of it too. And how many times have we had this discussion here with basketball coaches about how when freshmen are making that transition from high school to college, a lot of it is about figuring out what to do on the defensive end.
Correct.
And so if you're going to be a liability on the defensive end, you're going to find yourself not getting the minutes that you were hoping for. So, and that's a process. It takes time sometimes for those freshmen to figure out how to play defense at this level. Maybe it's part of that. Again, I have not been out to practice. I don't know, but I think it's from what we saw, the little bit of the flashes and how tall he is and physical and what he can do. I think he's going to have a big rotation. I mean, I think even if you're not in the top 10, it doesn't mean you're not going to play.
Right.
I think Coach Hoiberg, especially in the early goings, is going to play a lot of players, and a lot of guys are going to get minutes and see the floor. Same thing with Amy Williams' team, which she does every year. She plays a lot of players, and as and should have mentioned this earlier, but as devastating as that is, the lost Allison Weidner, she's got some depth at the guard position, and so now here's just an opportunity, some young freshmen that might have had to wait their turn a little bit if Allison Weidner was full go. Hey, now here's your turn. And I think they're talented enough And it's, as we mentioned with football every week, next man, next woman up. And they're pretty deep at that guard spot. And so as much as that hurts to lose a player like Allison Widener, I do think they have some depth there that, both spots. There's some deep benches here in Lincoln this year.
Well, you're here on scholarship, whether it's football, basketball, whatever, volleyball. You're here on scholarship, so they thought enough of you to bring you here on scholarship. So when it's your turn to play.
Yeah.
That's kind of how
and everybody, if you're a competitor, you want that opportunity. You want it
absolutely
early, especially in basketball. Like,
right.
Everybody wants to play right away.
Right.
And so, you don't want to see a teammate go down, but hey, here's my opportunity. I'm going to get more minutes. I better make the most of them. And I do think she's got some freshmen that will rise to the challenge.
Mike wants you to set up a horse game with him and Casey.
With Mike and Casey?
Yeah.
Oh.
I don't think it'd take very long.
I don't either.
Sorry, Mike. We don't have much faith in you. Hey, AAA Nebraska is giving away the ultimate away game experience. The Huskers road game up in East Lansing against Michigan State on November the 4th. Going to give away 2 tickets. Also, the winner is going to get a $2,500 travel certificate. This would take care of your airfare, your hotel, your other travel accommodations. To get yourself entered to be a winner, go to Huskers.com/AAA football. That's Huskers.com, AAA football getaway.com. Expect something more with AAA. We're back to play you part of this week's The Dig, the podcast about Husker volleyball. We'll play you a snippet of that coming up.
Out here, we raise stronger people, stronger crops, and we proudly raise our flag to that. Let the weather, pests, and pressures try to beat us down. We only keep growing up. With the next-gen genetics, the pure acre-for-acre know-how of these soils, and a deep pride of our roots, we're born to raise at Hogemeyer. Learn more at therightseed.com.
T&L Irrigation Company knows their way around a field and across it, into the corners, and even through storms. T&L engineers are constantly working on solutions producers need, like the new gooseneck cradle corner system attachment. It greatly improves corner span stability to tackle steep terrain and stand up to high winds. If you're looking to upgrade your corner system or add on new, call your T&L Irrigation dealer today or visit TLIRR.com to learn more. T&L, like no other.
Triple B Feed has the products to help your cows thrive. Whether it's weekly delivery of consumption-controlled Lumix liquid mineral with protein or Sweet Pro block supplements for space feeding, while also stretching your forages up to 25% better, Triple B has you covered. Let Brian and Brad Blauhorn take some of the stress out of your beef production this year. For more information and other products, visit triplebfeed.com. Triple B Feed, helping you and your cattle.
Everyone knows there isn't a fan base in the country that travels like Nebraska football fans. AAA Nebraska wants to help continue that tradition with the Huskers Away Game Getaway Giveaway. They're sending one fan on the ultimate away game experience for the Nebraska-Michigan State game on November the 4th. The prize package includes 2 tickets to the game and a $2,500 AAA travel gift certificate to cover flights, hotel, and travel accommodations. Enter now for a chance to win at Huskers.com/AAA football getaway. Contest ends October 18th. Expect something more with AAA.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
We could tell you all about what makes Ford F-Series the #1 trucks in America for 46 straight years. But why tell you when we could show you instead? Because in the Midwest, talk is cheap and actions speak. On the lake, on the job, or on the town. Choose the trucks that deliver on the claims. Ford F-Series is made for the real world. This is Chiefs Kingdom. Get 3.9% financing for 66 months, plus up to $3,750 bonus cash on F-150 XLT. Official truck of the Kansas City Chiefs.
For farmers, productivity isn't an option. It's everything. And at Valley, we feel the same, delivering game-changing technology and irrigation solutions that advance agricultural productivity, with the results to prove it. From our leading irrigation technology to expert advice, you can always rely on Valley to bring out the best in your farm. At Valley, productivity isn't an option. It's everything. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
In 1923, Bert R. Benjamin had a vision, an all-purpose tractor that could do more. With that, the Farmall was born. This year, Case IH is celebrating 100 years of Farmall, 100 years of milestones, 100 years of innovation, passion, grit. And they're doing it through your stories. Share them at farmall100.com. One lucky storyteller will win their own Farmall, the tractor that is the one for all.
If you're driven by an adventurous heart, you're in luck. The 2024 Subaru Outback shares your spirit. It will take you as far as you want to explore with standard symmetrical all-wheel drive and up to 9.5 inches of ground clearance. Plus, 96% of Outback vehicles sold in the last 10 years are still on the road today. The 2024 Subaru Outback. Go where love takes you. Longevity based on Experian automotive vehicles and operations versus total new registrations for model years 2023 to 2022 as of December 2022.
Want to get all the latest Husker news straight to your phone? Need to be the first of your friends to get the scoop on all things Huskers? Sign up for text alerts from Nebraska Athletics. Text Huskers to 83200 to get game time notifications and updates, breaking news, special ticket offers, and more straight to your phone. All the Husker news is just a quick text away. Just text Huskers to 83200. Standard text messaging rates may apply and may vary by carrier.
From the University of Nebraska-Lincoln, I'm broadcasting student Ann Gallagher with Campus News. 26 Husker students presented research findings on nuclear deterrence to a panel of U.S. Strategic Command officials at STRATCOM headquarters in Bellevue. The student-led presentation was the culmination of a semester of STRATCOM-guided research and the latest in a years-long partnership between STRATCOM and the National Security Studies program at Nebraska.
We're back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer, supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres, solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you here on a Monday night. Every Monday, Jessica sits down with one of the Husker volleyball assistant coaches, produces a podcast called The Dig, powered by Emeritus. This week, the guest, Kelly Hunter.
I always like to kind of highlight somebody from the previous weekend, and Kennedy Orr was one that Coach Cook brought up because he said she had a great weekend serving, probably the best statistically. You guys were able to go on some runs with her, too. What were you guys seeing back there that allowed her to be so good from the service line?
I think she's got this fearless attitude, like, okay, I'm coming in and I'm serving. I'm going to go for it and not be afraid. And as a serving sub and a serving specialist, that's a really hard mindset to have just because you're only in there for a short amount of time, so you want to just stay in there and not make too many mistakes. But I think she's kind of developed this fearless attitude when she goes back there, and she's going to go back and try and score a point, not just try to not lose a point. And just as a volleyball player and as an athlete, she's incredibly gifted all around. She's a great defender. She could step in and set that second ball if we needed her to. And so I think just her kind of having that mindset of I'm going to go in there and I'm going to win a couple points for my team. And we've been talking just when we watch film, and statistically, Coach is right, she is one of our best servers. And every time we watch the matches and we get ready for the match, we're talking about her being our best server, and it's been working. So I think it's all in her attitude and the way she goes for it.
That's awesome. What kind of goes into those statistics that you're looking? Because it's not all about service aces, right? It's got to be, I'm assuming, about the runs and how it sets up everything else, right, in a point?
Yeah, so there's a couple of different detailed things. So we have a lot of different metrics, especially for serving, because we can serve great, but it depends who's on the other side as well. So first thing we want to do is we want to have 1-to-1 ratio of aces to errors. So if you're erring a lot, you better be getting aces a lot too to kind of make up for that. Otherwise, you could just be high error and not serving tough, which is a little bit where we're at right now. But the goal there is to be 1-to-1 and have equal amounts there. Next, we have this new kind of percentage we're working with. It's called a knockout percentage. And so we haven't dialed in what exactly the standard is there, but it's how often are we getting the other team out of system. And so you can kind of see what they're passing on our serves. Like, are they in system a good amount of time? Are they out of system? And so there's that piece of it. And then we also look at point scoring. So for example, in rotation 6, when Kennedy serves, we look at how often we're scoring the point in that rotation. So there's kind of little steps, I guess I would say. So everyone listening, I hope we can follow along. There's a lot of layers to this, but basic level, aces, errors, knockout percentage, and then how often are we actually scoring given what they're passing over there.
Yeah, no, it makes sense. Just for Kennedy to embrace that role, and we've talked a lot about that, about, you know, being 14 strong and everybody playing their role, but, you know, as you continue on throughout a season, and for her to really embrace that and continue to grow in confidence, how special is that? How good is that for a team to have somebody like that?
I think for her individually, obviously it's awesome. She feels settled. She feels like she has a great role on this team. And then I think the example it sets for everyone else. And we have this thing where we say our players who come off the bench, they're game changers. They're not just someone coming in to fill a couple holes here and there. They're going in there to change the game. And I think Kennedy has really displayed that and been that example for her teammates. And then this weekend we had a lot of people who had to step up and be those game changers. Like Hayden came in and got a couple big kills and some digs, and Maggie was playing for a little bit and had some awesome kills and great blocks. And so we've kind of changed the verbiage that we're using, and so those guys are our game changers. And I think Kennedy has been a great example and just kind of led the way for those guys.
You know, when you talk about serving and in the middle of a season, and it's been a hot topic with Coach Cook's show, and people want to ask about it, but when you aren't serving to the level that you want, night in and night out consistently, how do you go about fixing that in season? What goes into that?
Yeah, there's obviously not too many technical things you want to do. Just when you're in season, it's obviously one of the more mental skills, because it's the only time in volleyball you get to just sit there, relax, and have total control. So I think there's a huge mental component behind that, and I think missed serves are contagious, and I think that's what we're seeing with our team. Once one person misses, it's kind of like, well, I don't want to be the next one to miss, and then you have that fear and you do miss. And so, but I think you kind of see it at Devaney too. When we miss a lot, the other teams miss a lot, and I don't know if it's our gym or if it's just contagious, like I said, but for us, it's all about mindset and just encouraging them to go back there and, like I said, try and win the point. Try to not just get it in. Try and pick someone on the other side and think about how you're going to get them the ball and what they're going to do when they do get the ball, and just thinking about that. And so it's a big attack mindset. And then I think just not worrying about who was in front of you, what your last serve was, if they missed, that sort of thing, just treating every rep as a new rep and just going back there and attacking. But it's obviously a very mental skill, and we're seeing some of that wear on us a little bit. And so I think we're just kind of attack, be aggressive, and then we'll live with the consequences.
So it's been about a month since we've had you on, so of course got to ask about Bergen Riley. She's a couple times had Player of the Week honors, and the last time you were here, you were talking about her still kind of developing that chemistry. It was still a work in progress. How have you seen that progress with her and that chemistry and across the entire team, and just, again, as a freshman, just her growth over the last month?
Yeah, I think especially the setter-hitter relationship. As a program, you want to have a unified system and have kind of a consistent, here's the tempo we're running, here's how we're running this specific set. But I think as the season goes on, hitters learn about the setter and the setters learn about the hitters. And so I think we've seen a little bit of that, and just the way that, like, Bergen setting Harper, for example, might look a little bit different than her setting Merritt on the left side. And I think you learn that over time, and you learn that through the matches too, as well as practice. And so I think seeing some of those things, it's a little bit detailed and a little fine-tuned. I'm not sure if everyone can see it, but you can kind of just tell that there's like those little nuances for each person there, and just each set's a little bit different. But I think I can never compliment her enough on her decision-making and just the way she can feel the match and the way she can get people the ball when it's unexpected, or when it is expected, put up a perfect ball for someone. And it doesn't matter what the block looks like on the other side. Usually we're pretty good on our side. And so I think I can just never credit her enough for just her natural ability to make decisions and to feel the flow of a match.
You know, Coach Cook also talked about the passing wasn't great. I think it was was it Penn State or Michigan State, one of those. You know, but as a setter, and that it is kind of a problem within a set, how do you go about managing that and ensuring that you're still doing your job as a setter and getting good sets for your attackers?
One of the things we talk about just in all of our skills is just bettering the ball. And so there's a really hard attack coming at you. Okay, maybe the dig's not going to be as good. Setters, we have to go better the ball and like help your teammate out. And then because of that too, the hitters have to help out the setter, just kind of knowing it's a chain reaction. Usually when things kind of start off not up to par, the play can kind of go that way. And so I think we just encourage them to help each other out. And I think it was Jalen during a timeout against Michigan State, like, and just kind of highlighted, all right, we're not passing great, we're not setting very good right now, like hitters, we need to do a better job. And so I think it's really cool to not put the pressure on one part of the system, and it's about everyone helping each other out. And that's what this team is so good at, is just lifting each other up even if they're not playing great. And you don't always see that for sure. And so for them to be able to just say like, hey, I'm struggling right now, can you help me? And then they do it, it's really, really cool to see.
Last week we talked with Lindsey Peterson about the out of system, and a lot of times when that happens, it's going to be if Bergen has to take the first pass or whatever, and then it's Lexi that sets. Do you work a lot with Lexi on the setting part of it?
A little bit here and there. Obviously, people are trying to not hit the ball at Lexi, so Bergen's getting a lot of balls and Middleback's getting a lot of balls, but this is something we're actually diving into right now, just statistically, with is Lexi better with her hands, or is she better with her platform? Where are we best when we dig it on the court? Just because it's happening so frequently, and I think it's because no one wants to hit the ball to her. So Bergen's getting a lot of first balls, and we're diving into that, and a lot of it's our set location, and do we go fast? Do we go high? Do we go really high? And there's like still some fine tuning of that every single week, and like I said, each player is a little bit differently too. So there's some fine tuning there, but Lexi's pretty gifted. I mean, anytime she puts her platform out, I'm like, you do you, I'm not touching that. When she puts her hands up, we'll talk a little bit, but Jalen's more of her position coach, and so they kind of talk a lot about that. But every now and then she'll be like, Kelly, can you help me? Like, my sets aren't very good, and so we'll talk every now and then, but a lot of it's just kind of what situations are we in, where do we need to put the ball.
How much of it is it a luxury to have somebody like Lexi that if it does get out of system, you can rely on her to maybe get things back into system, I guess?
Yeah, we have not a rule or a saying, but we want to play in system when we're out of system. And so for us, our goal is to not ever look like we're scrambling or we're just chucking up a ball and we're so out of control. So we work a lot on the setter digging the ball and who's going to go set it. And we don't only work on just Lexi setting it. We'll work on our middle back setting it or our middle setting it. Like Becca had 2 big points or 2 big chances to make a set in like the first 5 points of Penn State. And so we work on them setting it, our right front setting it, our left fronts. And so we just really emphasize that we don't ever want to feel like we're out of system. We want to still feel like we're rolling and in system in those situations. And so having Lexi, who's confident in her setting and who can run in there and go call the ball and take it from anyone is just huge.
Okay, let's talk this weekend. You got a couple of big ones at Northwestern midweek on Wednesday and then Wisconsin here on Saturday. But before we get into the X's and O's of those teams, I did also want to ask you, too, when you're playing a big team and a physical team like Wisconsin, which we hear for several of these teams in the Big Ten, does that change the setting at all, how you set your hitters when they have good blockers and people that can change what you want to do is when you try to get the kill?
Mm-hmm. It's something we talk about, just like, hey, this person is a really big block. She kind of blocks this type of way. And so we'll talk about that, but we don't usually try and change too much on our side just because we want to be consistent no matter who we're playing. And that's a big, big focus for us this year is just, are we playing Nebraska volleyball no matter who's on the other side? So from an offense standpoint, we don't really try and change too much, but that's something that the coaches and I might talk to Bergen about, just like this person's a really good blocker. Maybe we think about running these plays away from her or this specific play at her, stuff like that. That's kind of just something that you know in the back of your mind, but not like, okay, we're never going to set Merritt because she has this big block in front of her.
Yeah.
So it's more so just here's kind of what we know, and then for our attackers to know that too. Hey, this is the way they block. You might have this shot open more often, and not shying away from, I mean, just pounding the ball in the seam when the seam's there, you know. It's just kind of knowing how they block and what's in front of you, and then what are my solutions from there.
I love talking to Kelly Hunter. She breaks things down so great. I mean, all the coaches do, but that was just a portion of the full podcast, which is out now on podcast platforms or on our YouTube channel. So you can check that out now or after the show, after Sports Nightly. But thanks to Emeritus for sponsoring the dig, and they are proud to power Nebraska volleyball, Emeritus. So fun stuff. And yeah, we talk a lot more Wisconsin and Northwestern, and so that was just kind of the going back to last week and talking a little bit about players. But if you want more of the X's and O's of what to watch for this coming weekend, all that is part of what's was not included in that, but you can hear on your podcast platforms.
So that's a big match Saturday. That's going to be a big match.
Yeah, kind of, yeah.
Wow. I mean, just think how rare that is for number 1 versus number 2 in any sport, right? It just doesn't happen very often.
Yeah. And just, you hear all the time about the reasons why players or athletes pick certain programs to play in certain games. And this is that for volleyball. This is why you sign up to play for Nebraska, to play in a match like this with all eyes in the country are going to be on this match, paying really close attention. It's going to be a rocking atmosphere. And so, yeah, this is it. This is why you want to be a part of this program is for this stage, this platform. And a couple of weeks ago, Jalen Reyes had said, I'd asked him about the first Big Ten road trip, and he said, that's what's fun about this group is you kind of think you know, but then you don't really know for sure how they're going to respond and react because everything is new. And so while a lot of people wanted the outside narrative is, oh, well, Wisconsin's got Nebraska's number. Well, these freshmen haven't ever played Wisconsin, and they are so competitive and chomping at the bit for this kind of opportunity. And Merritt Beeson hasn't faced Wisconsin as a Husker, so there's more people that haven't played in this series for Nebraska than players that have at this point. And so I think they're going to be ready to roll. I think they'll rise to the challenge. It's just, as we've seen, no moment at this point has been too big for this group. And so I just cannot wait to see how these young freshmen rise to the challenge. And I think they will. I think they'll rise to it.
Jim in Columbus said, I was watching when Nebraska played Purdue. I don't understand how they can let that many people that close to the court. It's just nuts. And I think you talked about that on the dig a couple weeks ago because they were at Purdue and how all those people on the baseline, and they were students, and they're doing the shimmy sham of the hands.
Well, and then Purdue Pete, who's the creepiest mascot alive, was standing right there staring you down.
That would freak me out. If I'm Lanny Choi Boy, I'm wanting to run.
Yeah, but, I think that's where, in Illinois apparently, and I heard this with wrestling too, when I talked to the wrestling guys about the atmosphere of how they have all their students in one section, and boy, they are just right there behind you. And I know that's something that Coach Cook has talked about, maybe trying to figure out a way to have all the students, because right now they're kind of split, and maybe finding a way, because it's intimidating. It is. They are right there. They're right behind you, and it makes things challenging. And that's part of why you don't take anything for granted when you go on the road in the Big Ten, because of those kinds of atmospheres.
Yeah. AAA Nebraska is, well, I did that one already. We want to invite you to go visit an AGCO dealer between now and November the 3rd. Get yourself a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Huskers matchup against Iowa, final game of the regular season on November 24th. We're going to toss in a couple of pregame tailgate passes as well. See True Turf and Ag in Osmond, Columbus and Falls City, Osceola Implement and Kearney Equipment to enter, and you may be a winner this season. All right, phone lines, text lines open, 402-413-2400. We're back with more of the show coming up.
There's room at the table and more dollars to every acre by incorporating value-added grain into your operation with Central Valley Ag. From white corn to blue corn to organics, find the right fit for your operation. Now, for a limited time, enter to win a $10,000 bonus when you contract a minimum of 50,000 bushels of value-added grain. Enter to win at cvacoop.com. Our planet is hungry. Together, we feed it. Central Valley Ag, the official co-op of Husker Nation.
It's time for another round of Nebraska Farm Facts. If there's one thing Nebraska's known for, it's our beef. And Nebraska soybeans feed a lot of them, and even more pigs and chickens. Farmers and ranchers raise livestock and poultry to provide nutritious, affordable protein for all ages to help build muscle and maintain energy for a healthy lifestyle. Keep that in mind as you prepare all that tasty meat on your tailgate grill. This message is brought to you by Nebraska soybean farmers, growing opportunity from the ground up.
This statement has not been evaluated by the FDA. This product is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any disease.
When it comes to my lifestyle and diet, I don't always make the smartest choices.
Touchdown! Woo! Hey, how about another round and some more chips?
But when it comes to taking care of my liver, I do make one very smart choice. Active liver tablets from New Nordic. I used to have real issues with my liver, and at my last checkup, my doc was concerned about my numbers. But since adding a once-a-day active liver tablet, my gut's better, I feel great, and my doctor's happy. I ask a lot of my liver, so the least I can do to say thanks is a daily dose of Active Liver.
Active Liver is one of many award-winning health products from New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Scandinavia. Purchase at Amazon.com or for a volume discount, visit newnordicusa.com. Available as a tablet or delicious sugar-free gummy. Protect and help your liver the easy and effective way with Active Liver at Amazon or newnordicusa.com.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Everyone remembers Nebraska's national championships and Heisman Trophy winners. Most people also know Nebraska holds the record for the longest home sellout streak. But did you know Nebraska also leads the nation with 351 academic All-Americans? Or that Nebraska has more today's top 10 award recipients than any school in the country? Beardmore Subaru is proud to support and celebrate Husker athletics and Nebraska student athletes again this season. Beardmore Subaru in Bellevue has the 3-row 2024 Subaru Ascent. It's the biggest SUV we've ever made. Love is now bigger than ever.
What's colder than the coldest? A polar bear. I have reports of a polar bear on the loose. Man, is it cold enough for a polar bear in here?
Yes, we use SOS. Come on in.
SOS to the rescue! Nebraska defensive lineman Nash Hoving here. People know me as the polar bear, and when I want to stay cool, I call SOS. Their techs don't make commissions, so they give you an honest opinion, fair pricing, and longer warranties than the competition, guaranteed. Mention the polar bear and get a free 10-year labor warranty on New York equipment. The best warranty in town.
Noddle Companies is proud to support Husker athletics. As a leader in commercial real estate, we create thriving communities. Discover what's new in the Builders District in North Downtown, Sunny's at Exarban, and Row House Townhomes on Leavenworth. Noddle Companies is adding Omaha's first hybrid timber building to the skyline. Soon to follow is Builders Green Park, surrounded by mouth-watering food, exciting retail, and a hub of thriving businesses. Noddle Companies, building a better Nebraska. For more information, check us out on Facebook and Instagram. Go Huskers!
Dear roads, trails, and rivers, you ready for some SUV action? Toyota SUVs can roll their sleeves up for tight turns and twisty trails, dress up for a night out on the town, or head to the great outdoors. Take your family adventure game to a whole new level with the roomy Highlander. Make a serious splash with the rugged, revved-up RAV4. And tow all your toys in the spacious new Sequoia. Don't forget the trail-taming 4Runner and the sleek Venza Hybrid. All Toyota SUVs feature a whole suite of creature comforts to keep you and yours cozy in the cabin. Check out this legendary lineup at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha, Baxter Toyota of La Vista, or Baxter Toyota of Lincoln.
Visit a participating AGCO dealer between September 11th and November 3rd and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Nebraska-Iowa football game on November 24th in Lincoln, plus pregame tailgate. See True Turf and Ag in Osmond, Columbus, and Falls City, Osceola Implement, and Kearney Equipment to enter. And you may win this season.
We're back inside our Huskers Radio Network Broadcast Center, sponsored by Acres, the Midwest premier John Deere dealer supplying the equipment and service to advance agriculture and much more. Acres solutions for every field. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you Monday night. Here's the look at the rest of the week. We'll have our football show returns tomorrow night. Offensive line coach Donovan Rhule will be here. We'll talk to him about the offensive line, which we played a clip in hour one from Coach Rhule talking about how he really feels like that group has gotten better, particularly in pass pro, with what they started the season to what they are at now. So that's hour one tomorrow night. Then on Wednesday, we do not have a show. Husker Volleyball on the road in Evanston, taking on Northwestern, 6 o'clock pregame, 7 o'clock first serve. So no show for us on Wednesday. Thursday, our volleyball show with head coach John Cook in hour one, and then we're back for hour two, and then a full show headed your way on Friday night. We'll get you good and ready for that Northwestern game coming up at 2:30 on Saturday, with Husker Game Day set to launch at 10:30 Saturday. And by the way, Duke mentioned this in the ticker, we found out today that the Purdue game, the last game of this month, will be a 2:30 kick. So that's homecoming day. I'm okay with 2:30s. I saw a lot of people on X not happy about 2:30 games. I love them.
I like 2:30 games because you don't have to get up so early. You still have a night. I don't mind them at all.
Yeah, I mean, people are like, oh, it blows the whole day away. Well, if you're covering the Huskers at 2:30, you could pretty much watch the 11 o'clock games before we even start.
Yeah. I am a fan of 2:30, so I don't mind it.
No complaints here. Late homecoming this year for Nebraska, so it's not till the Purdue week. So next week will be fun on campus. A lot of activity going on campus. And you got to like what the forecast looks like for Saturday.
Oh, I'm excited. I was a little chilly the other night in Illinois. I think it's just because it was so hot. I mean, you went from 95
all the way down
to 45.
Yeah.
Just when my body wasn't ready. And, but yeah, it looks beautiful on Saturday.
Forecast, sunny and 70 for the Northwestern game here. They were off last week. To me, they're one of the really interesting stories. They've put 3 wins on the board. I didn't think after all the turmoil they had with Fitzgerald being fired over the summer that they could get anything done. They've won 3. Now, Nebraska is a big favorite in this game, but as Coach Rhule cautioned us all earlier today, you have to be ready to play week in and week out.
Yep. I mean,
they'll come in there fighting.
Yeah, they will. And we even talked about that last week during the pick segment about how, gosh, we didn't even know if they'd win more than one game.
Right.
And
here they are at 3.
They're fighting. And as Coach Rhule said, they're battling. And so, you know, they've won last year. And so you never know. I mean, they're gonna come in here and fight. So you cannot overlook this team. And while, yes, you look at it and think, oh, that's a winnable game, but you cannot overlook it. You have to full respect to Northwestern and come in here and take care of business.
No doubt. All right, need to step aside, get a break in, and then we'll come back and let everybody spin it around with their weekend winners. Looking forward to that. That's coming up next.
We've got some universally big news for Nebraska Pick 5 fans. The prize for matching 4 of 5 numbers has risen from $450 to $500. Visit your favorite Nebraska lottery retailer today. Pick 5 numbers between 1 and 40 or ask for a Nebraska Pick 5 Quick Pick. Match 4 numbers and you could win $500. Each play only costs $1 and there are drawings 7 days a week. It's just another way our game is getting better all the time. Nebraska Pick 5 top prize odds 1 in 658,000.
Get ready to rule the field and revolutionize your farming game with Valley, the game changer in irrigation and ag tech solutions. With time and labor-saving measures, ground-truthing results, and effective input reduction, Valley provides the perfect game plan so you stay ahead of what's in the field. From the best in irrigation and cutting-edge ag tech solutions to personalized support, Valley is your winning team. Visit your local Valley dealer or valleyirrigation.com today.
At Groundworks, we take great pride in helping our Nebraska neighbors keep their homes healthy. From repairing foundations to waterproofing basements to fixing crawl spaces or lifting concrete driveways. We'd like to think our customers choose us because of our attention to detail or the fact that we're the nation's leading foundation solutions provider. What gives our customers the most comfort is we're right here in Nebraska. Visit groundworks.com for a free estimate. Groundworks. Foundation solutions crafted with pride. The official foundation company of the Huskers.
Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska exists to be there with you. They are rooting for the schools and teachers who make our communities great. That's why Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Nebraska is proud to sponsor Touchdowns for Teachers and ask Husker fans to nominate outstanding educators who help Nebraska students reach their potential. If there's a teacher you want to recognize for the impact they've made in your community, find a nomination form at huskers.com/touchdownsforteachers.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Both farmers and Division I athletes are alike in that every year, every season presents a new opportunity. That is nothing new. Aurora Cooperative does what they always do, embrace new opportunities. They focus on their roots and continue to stand strong with their farmer owners. These core beliefs are much like those of committed Husker athletes. Aurora Cooperatives relies on their value of a strong work ethic to get any job done for their producers. When you choose Aurora Cooperative, you're choosing a winning team that's dedicated to the success of our local farmers. Go Big Red and go Aurora Cooperative. Visit a participating AGCO dealer between September 11th and November 3rd and enter for a chance to win a pair of tickets to the Nebraska-Iowa football game on November 24th in Lincoln, plus pregame tailgate. See True Turf and Ag in Osmond, Columbus, and Falls City. Osceola Implement, and Carney Equipment to enter. And you may win this season.
Woodhouse Auto Family, your trusted auto partner with 20 brands and 20 convenient sales and service locations. We're making car buying on your terms. Visit us online at woodhouse.com. Greg Sharpe, Jessica Coody back with you on a Monday night. We've saved this segment every week for our weekend winners. Jess.
Oh, I get to go first. All right. Well, I had Iowa in my list of potentials to win just because for women's sports, it's awesome. I got emotional watching it. I did, just because of the platform that it's being provided for women's sports. And, I got emotional several times watching the volleyball game here inside this stadium. And I got emotional watching Iowa and just that platform. But I am going to go with softball and baseball being added into the Olympics for sure in LA in 2028. It was announced, and so great news for the sports. And softball's just has been a huge part of the Olympics, the Olympic Games over the years, and so I'm so glad to see softball and baseball, but particularly softball, back in the Olympics.
Flag football.
Yeah, I saw that too.
And cricket? Was that the other one?
There was 5 games.
Lacrosse?
Yeah, there was 5
Lacrosse.
games. Yep.
But flag football? I don't think that's ever happened.
Get you a team, Greg. Maybe you can play flag football.
Yeah. I couldn't do that. All right, Duke.
All right. My weekend winner is going to the Jets. New York Football
Eagles.
Jets took down the Eagles, made Hurts look like not a Pro Bowl quarterback. Shout out Zach Wilson. Shout out Garrett Wilson. Shout out the New York Football Jets.
Garrett Wilson can play. I mean, we should have known that. He had a game against the Huskers where he had like 12 catches. Big win. I mean, you had both the Eagles and the Niners get beat yesterday. Both had been undefeated. Yeah. And they lose to the Jets and the Browns, 2 teams you wouldn't expect could beat them. Parity, NFL is crazy. All right, Jake, what's on your mind?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Lindsey Krause for the volleyball team. She completely dominated in the beginning of that Penn State match. I think she had 7 kills in the first few points for Nebraska, and she's had such a kind of weird up and down season, obviously dealing with the injury that was kind of bizarre. I just have a lot of respect for her to continue to be so dominant.
I have so much respect for you. The injury you're talking about, she got a car accident. She got hit and run, which is really scary, but she's stepped up her game, and she had to stay kind of in the rotation. She's done it.
Yeah, and Coach Cook was talking about this in his press conference about how different this team is when Lindsey Krause is at her best. And we've seen that for 3 seasons now, and at times she delivers in the biggest moments, right? You and I have had this conversation. It seems like she always rises to those biggest moments, but coming out of the gate for her to help set the tone in that match was huge, as Jake alluded to. I mean, she was a huge part of that. And so, healthy Lindsey Krause bodes well for the Huskers.
I thought about Cam Taylor-Britt, but I think he was last week. He had another pick yesterday.
On his birthday.
His birthday. They just love him in Cincinnati, and you knew they would, right?
Yeah.
Kind of personality that he has. But I'm going to go the Stanford Cardinal. How could you not pick them? Down 29-0 on the road. They were 1-4 going into the game, and they rallied and they beat America's team in Colorado Friday night. So Stanford Cardinal, my winner.
Love it. And we had someone that picked Deion's press conference. I think it was Crypto King picked Deion for his post-game press conference.
Yeah, and he did handle it. He probably didn't handle it as well as the SNL skit. But SNL was pretty good, too, because they had that skit, and then they had the one on NFL Fox, and they had Travis Kelce made a cameo appearance at the end of that. So a pretty good night for SNL as well. All right, that's going to do it for us tonight. What a fun show. Tomorrow night, football show with Coach Rhule, offensive line coach, hour 1. Jessica will join me in hour 2. We'll have a practice report. We'll hear from Coach Satterfield, Coach White, as the Huskers prep for those Northwestern Wildcats coming up on Saturday at 2:30. Thanks to Jake, to Duke, to all of you for being a part of this one. Have yourself a great night.
Hit us up on the text line. Text 402-413-2400 with your Husker thoughts.
Let's face it, nothing makes you look older than you really are than thinning hair. But what if you could not only increase your hair count, but promote new hair growth without surgery, without drugs with potential side effects, and without a prescription from your doctor? Well, now you can, thanks to a breakthrough new supplement called Hair Grow. Provided by New Nordic, the #1 supplier of dietary supplements in Europe. Hair Grow is now available in the U.S. Only Hair Grow contains Tocogaya, a powerful antioxidant that has received a U.S. patent. Multiple clinical studies show Hair Grow is safe and effective in promoting new hair growth. In one study, 95% of the patients using Hair Grow saw increased hair count. Don't lose more time and more hair. Try Hair Grow today to feel and look your best. Just go to newnordicusa.com or visit Walgreens or Amazon to purchase. Look younger and feel more confident with Hair Grow by New Nordic at newnordicusa.com.
Dear roads, trails, and rivers, you ready for some SUV action? Toyota SUVs can roll their sleeves up for tight turns and twisty trails. Dress up for a night out on the town or head to the great outdoors. Take your family adventure game to a whole new level with the roomy Highlander. Make a serious splash with the rugged, revved-up RAV4. And tow all your toys in the spacious new Sequoia. Don't forget the trail-taming 4Runner and the sleek Venza Hybrid. All Toyota SUVs feature a whole suite of creature comforts to keep you and yours cozy in the cabin. Check out this legendary lineup at Toyota.com. Toyota, let's go places.
See your Omaha Metro and Lincoln Toyota dealers. Corwin Toyota of Bellevue, Village Point Toyota of Omaha.